The first iteration of our piece was originally called 24 Gestures, and it was made for Arts on Site, which is specifically for like a small group setting. The piece was supposed to be seen in the round. Audience members came to watch our duet in a studio. So very informal showing and very, very intimate showing. Our first iteration of a project, we made the phrase, or we made the gestures, and then we counted afterwards, and it ended up being 24. If I remember correctly, and I think what's interesting for this second time is that we're taking what number we counted in the first iteration of our piece, and then actually creating and placing new gestures with a little bit more finesse onto the numbers itself. So it's kind of like we reversed the process of like generation of material first and then counting afterwards, versus now in the present is like the counting and the numbers are first and then creating material on top of that. Like if we're really talking about gestural work and being authentic with like each number, it really puts kind of this like kind of obligation or accountability on each of us, like between Peter and I, and also each number, for it to really have a place and to have a life of its own, I guess. Peter and I talked about frequently during our rehearsals is this idea of the gesture toolbox, which the toolbox is as minimal as possible, like our 24 gestures being what they are. We could mix the numbers up, we could flow through the numbers, we could do the numbers slowly and have pauses in between, returning our bodies back into a neutral position, and then going back to 1, or going back to 2 or something like that. It gave us so much more richness and opportunity and potential for like deeper, more complex movements as we began to put tasks onto the numbers themselves.
To add to that, I think one of the fascinating things as well is that we are used to partnering each other in terms of physical touch, in terms of lifts and supports and weights. And I think this is the first piece that we've made. We've been collaborating for 3 years now. That we can't touch each other, and that presents an interesting challenge in terms of any sort of partner weight share work. I think working with the idea of a film in mind, particularly from the very beginning, is that we just wanted to create 3 sections of movement that were less than 2 minutes long. When we're taking a look at a shoot for a film, as opposed to a traditional rehearsal to stage piece, it is completely different. And as we were building out these phrases with that in mind, even though sometimes it was limiting for us as choreographers and dancers who love to move, just understanding that the premise of it was for the film, and a lot of the, I guess, the choreographic elements, a lot of the production, a lot of things that you would see on stage is going to happen with the post editing in terms of the actual camera itself as a piece of the film, as opposed to just seeing 2 dancers on stage.